Have you ever found yourself constantly seeking validation, whether through attention, approval, or affection from others? What if the true secret to personal empowerment didn't lie in constantly chasing someone's approval, but in recognizing your own worth and stepping back? Imagine for a moment reclaiming your power by focusing on your own happiness, growth, and self-respect, without needing anyone else's confirmation. What would happen if you embraced the idea of absence, allowing others to experience your absence and truly recognize your value? In a world that constantly pushes us to seek external validation and approval, the concept of detachment may seem counterintuitive, even uncomfortable. Yet, it is through stepping back and recognizing our own self-worth that we can regain control over our lives, cultivate emotional independence, and make ourselves unforgettable. The strategies of self-worth, detachment, and absence aren't about manipulating others. They are about empowering yourself, building a life of personal fulfillment, and inspiring respect from those around you. Let's delve into the core ideas of how emotional detachment, reclaiming your worth, and focusing on growth can transform not only your relationships, but your life as a whole. By embracing absence, both emotionally and physically, you can force others to confront their own insecurities and realize the true value you brought to their life, while you continue to thrive and build your own path forward. 1. Self-worth and detachment. The foundation of personal power. How often do we find ourselves chasing someone's attention, hoping for their approval or seeking validation in a relationship? In today's world, it's easy to fall into the trap of trying to meet others' expectations and constantly seeking external affirmation. But what if you didn't need that validation anymore? What if your worth wasn't tied to someone else's opinion or attention? The key to personal power and confidence lies in recognizing your inherent value and not seeking approval from others. When you rely on external sources for validation, you lose touch with your true self. Empowerment comes from understanding that you are valuable, worthy, and complete as you are. Seeking constant validation from others only serves to devalue your self-worth, as you are allowing them to dictate how you feel about yourself. When you focus on building your own confidence and self-assurance, you no longer need others to confirm your worth. This shift is transformative. It turns the focus back to you, your happiness, growth, and self-empowerment. By learning to detach from the need for approval, you not only become more confident, but you also gain control over your emotional and mental state. The more you let go of seeking external validation, the more you reclaim your personal power. This shift in mindset makes you magnetic as others begin to notice your strength, independence, and self-assuredness. People are drawn to those who are confident in their own worth, and when you stop chasing their approval, you give them a reason to respect you. In the absence of this neediness, you create a sense of intrigue that makes you unforgettable. 2. Absence as a strategy. Letting the other person feel your absence, what if stepping back, physically and emotionally, was the key to reclaiming control in your relationships. This concept, often referred to as absence treatment, isn't about playing games or seeking revenge. It's about creating a space that allows the other person to truly recognize the value you brought to their life. By taking a step back and distancing yourself, you force the other person to feel the weight of your absence. Absence as a strategy works on several levels. It's not about playing hard to get or being unavailable just to manipulate someone. It's about allowing the person to feel the impact of losing you. When you're constantly available, the other person may take you for granted, assuming you'll always be there. But when you pull back, they are faced with the realization that you are no longer at their beck and call. This sudden absence creates a void in their life that they may struggle to fill. As you create this space, you force the other person to confront their feelings of loss and insecurity. They are no longer able to rely on you for emotional support or attention, which leads to them questioning their behavior. What happens next is powerful. They begin to reflect on the times they took you for granted, and they start to realize the value of your presence. In doing so, you reclaim your emotional power, while allowing them the space to face their own shortcomings. The absence strategy isn't about manipulation. It's about establishing boundaries and reclaiming your emotional independence. When you step back, you force the other person to evaluate their actions and decide whether they value you enough to change. This dynamic can be transformative, not only for your relationship, but also for your sense of self-worth and empowerment. The power of detachment. Creating a void that forces reflection. Have you ever noticed how much more someone values you when you step back and let them miss you? The concept of detachment is deeply tied to this idea. When you distance yourself emotionally or physically, you force the other person to feel the loss and the void that you've left behind. The more available you are, the less respect they may have for you. But when you create emotional distance, the value of your presence becomes clearer to them. Detachment isn't about being cold or uncaring. It's about establishing boundaries and reclaiming your emotional independence. When you're constantly at someone's disposal, they may begin to take you for granted, assuming you'll always be there. But when you step back, they are forced to confront their own behavior and realize that they no longer have access to you. This shift can trigger feelings of insecurity, loneliness, and regret as they begin to reflect on their actions. Creating a void through detachment is one of the most powerful ways to regain control in a relationship. The absence you create makes the other person realize just how much they relied on you for emotional support, validation, or companionship. Over time, this realization can trigger emotional growth in them. As they come to terms with the impact of their action, the longer you maintain your distance, the more they may begin to reflect on the missed opportunities and the value you brought into their life. By practicing detachment, you give yourself the opportunity to grow and thrive without the emotional weight of needing validation or approval. You empower yourself by stepping back and allowing the other person to face the consequences of their actions. This creates a powerful dynamic where you regain your emotional independence and make yourself more valuable and respected in the process. 4. Emotional consequences for the other person. The struggle with loss. Have you ever been in a relationship where you took someone for granted, only to realize later how much they meant to you once they were no longer around? This is the emotional consequence of detachment. When you step away, the other person is faced with feelings of loneliness, regret, and insecurity. They may begin to struggle with their daily routines as they start to miss the emotional stability and comfort you provided. The absence you create forces the other person to reflect on their behavior and realize just how much they relied on you for emotional support. At first, they may feel confused, frustrated, or even angry at your sudden withdrawal. However, these emotions give way to self-reflection. They begin to compare others to you and feel the emptiness that comes with your absence. No one else can replace the value you brought into their life, and this realization can lead to deep feelings of loss and regret. As they struggle with the void you've created, they are forced to confront their own emotional shortcomings. They may begin to question their own actions, wondering whether they took you for granted or failed to appreciate you while they had the chance. This emotional turmoil often leads to a sense of realization and regret, as they recognize the missed opportunities to value and respect you more. While this process is painful for the other person, it is an essential part of their emotional growth. It forces them to face their own mistakes and learn the value of self-awareness, respect, and appreciation. Meanwhile, you continue to grow, thrive, and build your own life, free from the emotional baggage of needing someone else's approval. The inevitability of regret. How absence makes them realize their mistakes. Have you ever realized, too late, that you let something important slip away? But often follows when you've been taken for granted. When you pull away and create space, the other person begins to see your absence not as a temporary lapse, but as a loss. They start to reflect on their behavior and the missed opportunities to value you while you were available. As time passes, they begin to recognize their mistakes, and the weight of regret sets in. This process isn't immediate. It takes time for the other person to fully appreciate what they've lost. Initially, they may feel anger, confusion, or frustration, but eventually, they will come to the painful realization that they took you for granted. By the time they recognize this, however, you've already moved on, and the dynamic between you has shifted irreparably. This delay in recognition is what makes absence such a powerful strategy. It forces the other person to come to terms with their own shortcomings, while you continue to thrive without them. Here is that by the time they regret their actions, you have already moved forward, focusing on your own growth and happiness. Your emotional detachment has allowed you to reclaim your power, and the other person must face the consequences of their action. While they struggle with regret, you're building your own life, making yourself stronger and more confident in the process. 6. Reclaiming power. The true path to empowerment, the ultimate lesson of detachment, is that true empowerment comes from standing strong in your own worth and not relying on anyone else for validation. By stepping back and letting others confront their feelings of loss and insecurity, you regain control over your emotional well-being. Your absence forces them to realize what they took for granted, while you continue to build your own happiness and success. Reclaiming your power is about focusing on your own growth and happiness, not waiting for someone else to recognize your worth. As you detach from the need for approval, you empower yourself to pursue your own goals, dreams, and aspirations. This shift in focus allows you to grow stronger, more resilient, and more attractive as a person. You become someone who values their own worth, and others begin to respect and admire you for it. By embracing detachment, you stop allowing others to control your emotional state. Instead, you take charge of your own life, building the strength and confidence that come from being emotionally independent. This newfound power makes you magnetic to others as they recognize the strength and resilience you possess. 7. Growth and independence. The ultimate form of attraction, true attraction, comes from within. When you focus on your own growth and independence, you become more attractive not only to others but also to yourself. From seeking validation to seeking personal growth leads to greater confidence, independence, and resilience. As you grow and evolve, you become a stronger, more captivating person, and people are naturally drawn to that energy. When you stop waiting for someone else to validate your worth, you begin to build a life that is fulfilling on your own terms. This independence and growth make you unforgettable. As you continue to evolve, others are left wondering about your next move, captivated by the energy you radiate and the strength you embody. By focusing on personal growth and emotional independence, you free yourself from the need for validation, allowing your true power and potential to shine. This is the essence of true attraction, the power that comes from within and makes you magnetic to those around you. 8. Psychological impact. How your absence changes their mindset. The psychological impact of your absence is profound. When someone who once provided emotional stability is no longer present, it causes a shift in their mindset. They begin to feel the emptiness of your absence, triggering feelings of loneliness, self-doubt, and the realization that no one else can replace the value you brought into their life. This emotional shift can lead to a period of reflection and personal growth as they confront their own shortcomings and learn the importance of respect and appreciation. Your absence forces the other person to reflect on their behavior, and this process can lead to deep emotional growth. They may come to realize that no one else can offer what you brought to their life, and this recognition can be a turning point for them. Meanwhile, you continue to grow and thrive, focusing on your own personal development and happiness.